Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to talk about one of the most eminent saints of Kashmir, Bhagwaan Gopinath Ji. I'm really excited to share this with you, so make sure to watch until the end for all the details. But before we get started, if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below to let us know your thoughts. Alright, let's get started. Jagadguru Bhagwaan Gopinath Ji was one of India's most illustrious saints. Unlike the other saints, he was known as Bhagwan during his lifetime because he possessed all 6 of the traits that the name stands for. He was a Jivan Mukt, having gained mukti or emancipation while still in the gross body, to which he had no attachment. His spiritual condition was what the state of Shiva himself and the state of perpetually abiding in Brahman, or God without a form. He used his spiritual abilities to help spiritual seekers, homeowners, and the country. He turned many sinners back to the path of virtue. Despite his aloof demeanor, he cared deeply about the country and its people in his senior years. Bhagwan Ji, one of multiple brothers and sisters, was born on July 3, 1898, in Bana Mohalla, Srinagar, Kashmir, to a middle-class Kashmiri Pandit family. His mother, Srimati Hara Mali, died when he was 12, and his father, Pandit Narayan Jumbhan, died while Bhagwan Ji was in his late 30s. Bhagwan Ji had just completed the middle standard, but he had retained everything he had learned at school. Even in later life, when he was mostly absorbed with the self, he would articulate wonderful English lines on rare occasions. He also spoke Sanskrit, Persian, Hindi, and Urdu. When Bhagwan Ji was 10 years old, Pandit Narayan Jumbhan gave his stepmother control of his residential residence and most of his valuables. The family continued to live in Srinagar, but had to move from place to place. Thus, Bhagwan Ji lived in 11 different houses, including his ancestral home. These included his niece's residence in Chandapura, where he died on May 28, 1968. Due to the family's financial difficulties, Bhagwan Ji was asked to work, and at the age of 15, he began working as a compositor at a local printing press. He worked in a grocer's shop in his 20s, where he seemed to be generally absent-minded, engrossed in meditation. The family encouraged him to marry, expecting that marriage would link him to the world and make him a permanent financial support, but he was steadfast in his denial. Bhagwan Ji distinguished himself as a young man for his bravery, fearlessness, and hate of dishonesty. Another significant element of his youth was his desire to visit the prominent saints of the day. Swami Balkak, Swami Jivan Sahab, and Swami Zanakak Tupji were among those he met. Bhagwan Ji was above all considerations of caste, creed, or religion. People of various faiths would come to see him beginning in 1947, and he would lavish his love and compassion on everybody. In response to a devotee's question, he once stated, "Is a Hindu one and a Muslim another?" Bhagwan Ji began with the spiritual practice known as Panchanga Upasana, or meditating on the 5 deities, Ganesha, Surya, Narayana, Shiva, and Shakti. Later, his ideal was the Divine Mother Sharika, a vision of whom he had for the first time at the age of 27. Gradually, he progressed to Nirgun Upasana, or meditation on the Supreme Reality without a form. In his 40s, he became addicted to intensive sadhana, locking himself up in a room that no one, except his niece, was allowed to access. An earthenware lamp was kept burning there for the entire 24 hours. His focus was so intense that a rodent nibbled a hole in his heel. It's impossible to define what kind of spiritual discipline it was, but it made his body enlarge and occasionally made him vomit blood. During the 7-year phase of sadhana, he would fast for extended durations of up to 6 months. He emerged from this horrible suffering having acquired complete realization of the Supreme Reality. Bhagwan Ji kept a holy fire burning in front of him and offered oblations into it on and off. As an introvert, Bhagwan Ji was a man of few words and a simple demeanor. He is known to have avoided exposure and kept himself hidden. As a result, numerous religious analysts and followers have struggled to categorize his spiritual path into a certain school of Indian philosophical thinking. It is widely assumed that he adhered to the tenets of the Trika doctrine of Advait Kashmir Shaivism, in which the goddess Bhairavi is enthroned above God Bhairava and is the main deity of worship with knowledge, will, and action, which had a dominant influence on him. He once remarked, "Think of Brahman as a tree, and if one sits on any one of its branches, the same goal will be reached in each case." He reportedly said, "Omkara is the throat of Godhead, and nothing is possible without it." A couple of his pen drawings have been discovered in which he has sketched the symbol Omkara encircled by the names Rama and Shiva, implying that God can be achieved through either route. While touring the Amarnath shrine, he is claimed to have commented, "Shiva is dancing everywhere," and he was thereafter seen in a cheerful mood for the rest of the day. As he had an affinity for light sources, he constantly kept incense sticks burning in flames rather than letting them smolder. He would sometimes burn the oblations in the fire pot and refer to it as Lord Narayan's feet. He referred to his legs as logs of wood and his body as food because he was the god of death and as such did not regard the physical body as the end-all be-all of human existence. He did not advise anyone to abandon their family and household in quest of self-realization, but only if they practiced celibacy. From the collections of hymns he wrote, it is clear that he had an affinity for Bhakti tradition as well, as evidenced by his love of Indian classical music. His adherents began recording and attributing many miracles to him around 1938, such as curing incurable ailments, rewarding issueless couples with children, and resurrecting the dead as needed. Mind reading, materialization, assisting people to view the deities of local shrines such as Kheer Bhavani and Hari Parbat in human form as well as in the shape of their effulgence, and many more feats have been extensively documented, mostly by his principal biographer and other followers. During the Kargil War, an officer of the Indian Army's 18th Battalion of the Grenadiers Regiment purportedly spotted him at the fighting front, overseeing an attack effort to recapture Tiger Hills on July 3, 1999. During the 1947 war, an officer of the Indian Army reported a similar experience. The most remarkable aspect of Bhagwan Ji's work is that he allows us to perceive and grasp the holy path in very ordinary and human terms. No adversity in his life compelled him to take this road, nor did he exhibit any unique indicators that may be construed as his predisposed leanings in this direction. But he had a great desire to do it, and he opted to walk this path softly, deliberately, and without fanfare. He continued to hone his focus skills to the point where he could only think about his Paramatman. Everything he did fit into the tried and true, well-known, and established mold, using methods and techniques that are neither difficult nor unreachable. This makes him a magnificent example of a realized saint, who inspires us more by his example than through his words and acts. The most clear and straightforward lesson of his life for us is that personal salvation is a wholly private matter, and that every human being may and should strive for it, that each of us, whatever of our ordinariness, is a potential saint. And that's a wrap for today's video. We really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Also, be sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. If you have any questions or comments about today's video, feel free to leave them down below and we'll do best to respond to each and every one. Thanks so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one.